Hi everyone, my name is Hannah Petrie and I'm doing my presentation on Keynote. First slide up is just an introduction going over some important things that I found about Keynote. So as you guys know, it was created by Apple. You probably have it on your computers and your iPhones and your iPads. It has 4 out of 5 stars on the App Store. The App Store I'm referring to is for Apple users, and I think that's a pretty good rating. It has over 40 different themes, which I think is super convenient. Depending on what your presentation is going to be on, you can always find something that sort of fits that theme. It can also be exported into PowerPoint, which I think is super convenient. You know, if you want to add some things or there's something on PowerPoint that's not on Keynote, you can just put it in there and add that in. Here on the right is a picture of the Keynote logo. That's the current Keynote logo. Next slide is just another introduction, so a couple more things I wanted to talk about. So the price is free. I think that's great. It comes with your Apple products, and I think it's a super nice software to use. It has 33 different languages that you can use when making a Keynote presentation, which I think is great. It was released in 2003, the year that I was born, which I think is super cool. And there's over 700 shapes that you can use when making your presentation, which I think is cool for making like charts and stuff like that. And I have a picture here that just shows what it would look like on your computer, your Apple computer. I just think it looks very clean and nice, and that's just what that looks like over there. Next up, I have some pros that I found about Keynote. So I think a pro is that it comes with the Apple products. You know, it's free. You don't have to pay for anything. As soon as you buy your Apple product, you have the ability to use Keynote, which I think is super cool. There's a lot of themes, as I mentioned before. I think that's a great thing. And you can also turn it into a PDF and put it into PowerPoint. I think that's great. I didn't know that a while back when I was making a Keynote, and I uploaded it into Canvas for an assignment, and my professor wasn't able to open it up. So that was unfortunate, but shortly after that I learned that you can turn it into a PDF, so anyone can open it, which I think was great. I wish I knew that then. Here's just a picture of some of the themes. As you can see, they're very colorful, a lot to choose from. Some cons that I found of Keynote were that Windows users can't use it. They can't get Keynote, which sucks. And I also found that it is much different than PowerPoint, which might cause you to run into some issues. You know, if you're used to using Keynote and then you go into PowerPoint, you're like, oh, there's so many different options. There's buttons where buttons weren't before. So just a little learning curve there, but I know from my own personal experience, it didn't take too long to get used to. I think I was able to adapt pretty quickly. It also doesn't have all of the exporting options, so maybe you wanted to turn it into something and it won't let you. You might run into some issues there, but luckily you can just export it into PowerPoint, and then hopefully PowerPoint allows you to export it into the right document. And then here I just have a picture, and I'm just showing you that you cannot put it into Windows. Can't use Keynote in Windows. Alright, next up I just compared Keynote to PowerPoint. So I found that, as you guys know, Keynote is only offered for Apple users, which is unfortunate. PowerPoint is free for all users, no matter what type of computer you have. I have an Apple, and I have been able to use PowerPoint, which is great. PowerPoint also has more exporting options, so like I mentioned on the last slide, maybe Keynote doesn't have it. You can still upload it into Keynote or PowerPoint, and hopefully it works from there since they have more exporting options. PowerPoint also has more features, just some more things that you can do to make your presentation more lively, some more formatting options, which I think is cool. And here I just have a picture of the PowerPoint logo on the left and the Keynote logo on the right. Alright, next up I just have my analysis, what I think of Keynote, and here I'm saying that I will use Keynote. I really like Keynote. I think it looks great with my computer. It just looks clean, it works well, I don't run into issues, and I'm just very used to it. I think that's the main thing. I just sort of started using Keynote as soon as I was making presentations, so I've just sort of learned the ins and outs of that. But I'm sure if I wanted to do that for PowerPoint, I could learn that pretty quickly. My only complaint is the exporting. I learned that certain formats you can't do on Keynote, so that's sort of an issue, but you can always put it into PowerPoint, like I said before, and then do it that way. So overall, I will use Keynote. I like Keynote. It's on my computer. I know where it is. It looks good. And then over here, there's just a picture of a couple different devices, you know, the desktop, Apple computer, the MacBook, an iPad, and an iPhone, and you can see that you can use Keynote on all of those, so that's great.